Pregame.com.
Welcome back, Pregame.tv. Bonus coverage. We're going to talk about the life of a handicapper on a busy Sunday. I'll tell you one thing I'm not doing on Sunday, and that's checking out the standings in the Gaming Today Brawl for It All, which currently I believe Brian Leonard is in first place. Brady Cannon's in second. Marco D'Angelo's right there in third. And the mysterious man known as the Claw.
The Claw.
You remember Baron von Raschke?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where he would put the claw on you, and you would, like, on your stomach, not your head, and it would submission hold.
I believe that's how the results just came out today from last week, and I believe that's how it sits. Nice representation from pregame on there at the top, and then throughout the contest, Ken Thompson's in it, Chuck Edel, and also Andy Iskoe.
Yep, I didn't get invited. That's okay.
Well,
get invited.
I'll put in a good word for you.
I'm not going to root for the Claw. Go for you.
I'll put in a good word for you.
Or maybe I'm the Claw.
Hey, maybe you are.
Don't want to give away what my plays are. But no, let's go to Sunday. Sunday at 6:30 a.m. in faraway places, the first college football lines pop up. Mm-hmm. I am not up to see them. I've typically been out and about betting, grabbing numbers, and I'll pass out. I get not unusual. I'll put up a couple final plays. Maybe at 1 in the morning, and I'll pass out on my, not unusual, pass out on my couch in my office. I'll get up on Sunday about 7:30, and on my Sunday, what I'm usually doing is I'm looking for prop bets, I'm looking for quarter bets, derivative bets, stuff that hasn't been put up before. Obviously looking at line moves, oftentimes wouldn't be unusual where I would bet something where that one's where I knew the line was going to move, and that's easy because I can play back like in the last 15 minutes before the game starts.
Sure.
So I'm doing all that monitoring, and I'm firing in like last-minute bets to bet like a pro, like on quarters, these derivative bets, making recommendations, maybe putting up a final package. What is your Sunday morning like?
Sunday is the one day of the week that I get to sleep in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because, of course, you know, we have BK's Golf Services. We open at 7 o'clock every single day of the week. Sundays I am not working typically, so I'm able to sleep a little bit past 6 a.m. But I'll usually be up by about 7:30, 8 o'clock and getting ready for NFL Sunday. And I'm doing some similar things like you, not as involved, but I'm looking at line movement. I'm thinking about, is there a last-second play that I can make, where I've seen some advantage here come late. But that's pretty much Sundays for me, maybe a couple of chores around the house, working the yard a little bit, and then 10 o'clock I'm on that couch until about 10 o'clock at night.
I might change a diaper or two. That's that's pretty much the extent of what.
I forgot. I'm on the couch at 10 a.m. until about 10 p.m. and then usually somewhere around 6 o'clock I make my way out to the grill and oftentimes make dinner for the family on Sunday.
Well, that's good. I don't make it to the grill. What I do is that it's funny at right around 10 a.m. then when they're kicking off, it wouldn't be unusual for me to desperately try to fire in a first quarter bet on a team that's getting the opening kickoff right before they close it off on one of my apps. They're going to take it. I will bet it, with a team going ahead and getting the ball. And then I frantically am charting who actually got the opening kickoff because I need to know who gets the ball in the third quarter to price the second half lines, because especially not so important like in a Jet game, but in a high total game, I want the ball. I say all the time, if I don't get the ball, and I've been burned when I try to go against that, but it's just so important. As there just aren't that many possessions on a high total game. You want to get the ball. It's
absolutely.
It's very important. And then I fire up my live wagering apps on Cantor, and I basically focus on the 2 TV games, and I'm playing live wagering for the next 6 hours on the on all the TV.
I got a question for you. You have the Sunday package, the Sunday ticket?
I do.
Okay. What do you watch? Do you have just one TV? Do you have two?
In the office I have 2.
Okay.
And so what I do is I try to focus when I'm doing live wagering. I used to, obviously flick around, do the red zone and all that. But since the live wagering's become so big, I try to stick with 2 games.
Okay.
The games I'm wagering.
Okay, and focus on those. Okay.
And what I might do is that if for whatever reason, like a really high total game is harder to do live wagering, like hurry up offenses, the lines get pulled off. And if that's the case, sometimes I'll go to an ancillary, a third game, if they're offering live wagering on the apps, where I'll go ahead and maybe be following. The advantage of that is that it's more under the radar. It's harder to price. If Cantor's dealing lines on that game, maybe no one else will be dealing it. And if I catch an injury, I can oftentimes get take advantage of that information. Whereas if it's the primary game that's on, the national network,
sure,
it's more likely everyone sees, the quarterback go down, and they don't they'll make the proper adjustment. Versus, that being, the game with less volume, it makes sense. The odds maker they're going to put on that game to set the lines is going to be like less senior. Sometimes
I'll make a halftime bet, but I really don't do much live wagering on a week-in, week-out basis like yourself. So I try and watch as many games as I can, and I try and soak up as much as I can from each game, because I want to, at the end of the week, on Monday, I want to go back and adjust my ratings with what I saw.
And that's what I used to do, but now I find it's just too profitable to be like, doing all this. And so I have to catch up and watch all the NFL rewinds. Well, the good news is then I only have to watch one game at once. The bad news, I have to stay up half the night to go ahead and watch all of it. So that becomes my late Sunday night escapades. But what I find then is that I'm tracking how all my bets are doing, and sometimes I'll have like teasers, and everything ties into a game. And maybe then at the very end, I'm like, oh my goodness, I've got like 9 games teased into this this late Kansas City game, and let me go ahead and play. Tease Kansas City maybe down from 7-1. Let me play back Houston +7. Oh my goodness, station just went to 7.5. I'll be right back, and I might run out to the station or one of the local places to grab a bet. But it's becoming rarer and rarer, because I find even if I have a really good bet to go to, the opportunity cost of leaving and coming back just too much. And I'm texting out plays, suggested bets along the way, and so you blink and it goes from 10 a.m. and all of a sudden it's 4 o'clock and you've got like 6 straight hours of this.
Now, what are you doing between the end of the 4 o'clock or the end of the 1 o'clock games and the beginning of the Sunday night? You've got typically an hour to an hour and a half in there. What do you do with your break?
Sure, I'm a quick grade to see, and people are like, oh, how did you do? Are you up? And they have an exact amount. Like, I have no idea. I'm an approximate idea. So grading, how I did, and then I'll take a look at maybe I played some parlay, see what's live. Do I have any? Do I have any liability? Not liability, but do I have any big exposures coming up on that last game? And then props, because the singleton games on Sunday night, Monday night game are usually gold.
Right.
As far as finding things that you can play, like I put up on. Sacks under 4.5, which I thought was a really, really good bet on the game last night. I did wind up getting there. There's more pressure on Freeman than I would have liked, but they only had 3 sacks. And so I'll be checking with people on derivative bet quarters. Oftentimes I'll put up team totals, and you can almost count on getting super bargains because everyone bets over on these team totals.
Right.
So kind of a no-brainer. I'm going to always look to play unders on team totals, usually in Vegas. If a total on a game's 47, you'll get a 49 someplace. So I might run out, drive down to a station, get on my app and bet against the South Point, because they might have a really high total. And I'm trying to take a quick look at what happened with the handicapping to see, take a glance at the games coming up, because the openers are going to be coming up. Is there a bet that I know I should be making right away? And take a glance at the college football opening
for next week.
That's right. So I'm doing all that, and then a blink, and all of a sudden it's Sunday night football, and then 3 more hours of live wagering. Handicapping, texting out plays at halftime. Sometimes I'm tweeting what I like, and then all of a sudden the whole day is gone, and it's like 9 o'clock, and I'm like, oh wow, there's like 8 games I haven't seen, and I've got to start watching NFL Rewind.
And by the time Tuesday rolls around, which you told me a couple weeks ago, you ended up falling down for a 3.5-hour nap.
Exactly right, because I do a show with JT the Brick and Tom Looney at 10:30, which actually works out perfect, because what I do is I go ahead and spend a little time with my little boy, I tuck him into bed, and then I'm basically scrambling over box scores, because I got to be ready to talk to him about at 10:30. It works out perfect, the timing, because I have like a 90-minute window then, 9 to 10:30, to go ahead and recap what happened the day, what's the theme, and then turn right around and take a look at at lines and see what I might like the following week, and start looking to make bets for the next week.
Perfect. A busy Sunday indeed for both of us. I think more so for you. My golf business, Sunday is the one day I typically am not working the golf business, so it is my one day to focus on football as far as watching games and not working games.
And then the one thing I'll say is that by 10:30 I'm so exhausted, I should go right to the NFL Rewind, but what I usually do is then back to the couch, I kind of collapse, turn on the Sports Center, and I'll just watch the 90-minute blitz and get the highlights at least before I actually go back, and I'll pick out the games that I really feel like. More often than not, I'll watch games where where there's unusual results. If it was what I expected, I feel like, I don't need to watch that right away.
Right.
It's what played out is what I expected.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Very good. So thought I would just break down just how I do it. And it's interesting how the way things have changed is, like Brady, I used to watch all of the games. I would try to be actually in a sports book. I'd bet halftimes from the sports book. And now I'm finding with the live wagering options on my Cantor app, also on my William Hill app, that it's available, that has become my main source. And I find the bets that I make during the games are oftentimes the very best bets that I get each and every week. As an example, momentum is so big in live wagering. People emphasize momentum. So the betting tip I'll give is that the math really still applies. Denver was down 6, 7 minutes to play. They had all the momentum in the world, but they're on their own 15-yard line. And Indy was only a minus 128 favorite at that point. They were a very slight money line favorite. Hey, they're ahead by 6 points. That is beyond a leap of faith to say that Denver is ever even going to have the lead. And even if they take the lead, you still got luck with the ball, a couple minutes to play, down 2. You still have maybe a 1 in 3 shot of stealing it right back. That line was crazy. But when you see Reggie Wayne limping off the field and all the injuries to Indianapolis, that's a sort of example. And these are the sort of bets you got 15, 20, 30 seconds to fire on. It is like playing absolute speed betting. You better be ready to fire and be able to make that evaluation quickly on what's off. Real exciting times with the live wagering, with Cantor, with William Hill, and with some of the other books in town. So it certainly keeps us on our toes.
Cool.
Very good. Well, thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, good to be back again, my friend.
Yes.
Let's have another good week.
I like it. Yes, best of luck. And we are trying to win another Super Contest. So far, we are behind Mr. VR, who continues to do well, went 3-2 last week. We hope to have him back next week here at pregame.tv. Good.
Cool.